Hey folks, Todd at Freedom Fighter Tactical. In this video, I'm going to show you the difference between a spinning charging handle and a locking charging handle. I get a lot of questions about this over at Freedom Fighter Tactical at the phone number on the website. So if this is something you're interested in, that's what we're taking on today. Let's get started right now. All right, folks, Todd at Freedom Fighter Tactical. Welcome to my channel. I do videos for Benelli M1, M2, M3, M4 to discuss these shotguns and aftermarket parts for these shotguns and to educate people on these shotguns so that they know what they're looking at, what they're buying, how the gun works, all that sort of stuff. The videos are new here in 2020. I started doing videos a number of years ago, did a few informational videos, never did videos after that, but here in 2020 with the Chinese virus and everything going on, I have decided to do a lot more video content for Freedom Fighter Tactical. Right now I'm doing about 2 videos a week. Mondays are a video on the inventory and status of inventory at Freedom Fighter Tactical. It's an informational video because a lot of my customers are not building their gun and buying everything at one time for their gun. They're planning out their build and doing it as they can afford it. Or as the parts are in stock and doing it in a fashion that makes sense for them. So I like people to know what's in stock at Freedom Fighter, what's out of stock, what's coming back in stock, what's in jeopardy of going out of stock, all that good stuff. Those are my Monday videos. On Thursdays, generally, I drop a how-to video like this video that we're going to do today, where I'm talking to you about the hows, to's, and whys and what's of the charging handles for the M1, M2, M3, and M4 when it comes to, and Super Black Eagle 1, 2, and 3, when it comes to the spinner versus the locking charging handle. So that's what we're talking about today. Folks, if this is the kind of video content that you like, you're part of the Benelli community, you're part of the Freedom Fighter Tactical community, or you're not yet part of either community, but you'd like to be sure to like this video. It helps YouTube send it out to other people who might be interested in the same things you are. Also subscribe to the channel so that you're aware of new videos. Hit the subscribe button down below. And if you hit that little bell when you come to YouTube, you will be notified that there is a new video. And of course, you can join my Freedom Fighter Tactical email list over at freedomfightertactical.com. You will be made aware of videos whenever they drop. I do send an email out to my list to let them know that, hey, there's a new video. And a lot of the times I give them other information. I share with them inventory updates, and if we've got some cool new stuff, or maybe there's a limited item that's in stock, I put it in the emails so people that read the emails know that, hey, there's a recoil tube, or hey, there's collapsible stocks. And that is the best way to get that kind of information, is my email list over at freedomfightertactical.com. Okay, so let's dive right in. So as you can see on the screen here under my 4K camera, I've got 2 4K cameras, of course, one that I'm looking at and one that's pointed down to my workbench here in my home office in Southern California. Okay, so we have a Benelli M4, this gun right here that I'm massaging here, the forend and the barrel. This is a Benelli M4. I love this gun. It's my first one. I've had it for many, many years. A lot of ammunition has gone through this gun, and I don't think I've ever cleaned it. Maybe when I first got it, before I was in business, I cleaned it a little bit, but it's a workhorse, and it's been a great gun. It's got a titanium tube on it, some R&D parts inside it, but nothing crazy fancy on this particular shotgun. Of course, it is missing the charging handle because I've got the charging handles laid out here. Here I have a Benelli M2 shotgun. Now, when I talk about the Benelli M2 shotgun and the Benelli M2 charging handles, which are the 2 on the end, I'm also talking about the M1, M2, M3, and the Super Black Eagle 1, 2, and 3, because it's all the same charging handle. It's all the same on how it works. So even though I have an M2 in the picture, I was going to do an M1 also, but it's just redundant. All we need is an M2 and M4 to compare the differences and see what's going on here. Now, I got a couple questions, and one in particular where one of my clients sent me a video where he was a little surprised that the Benelli M4 charging handle would rotate inside the bolt because I bill it as locking. And I stand by that. It is a locking charging handle. And I'm going to show you why, even though it will rotate in the bolt, why I consider it a locking charging handle, sell it as a locking charging handle, as opposed to what a spinning charging handle is. So let's just start with what a spinning charging handle is. And I'm going to show you tell you what these charging handles are, so that way as we move through them and move about them, you know what I'm dealing with here and which one I'm working with. So this one on the end is a spinner charging handle. It's an aftermarket part. I don't remember where I bought it. It's at least 15 years old. I bought it sometime in the mid 2000s. And I like it. It's a good, well-made charging handle. It just spins, and I'm not a big fan of spinners. And I know a lot of you are not big fans of spinners as well, but otherwise this charging handle seems pretty solid. This charging handle to the right is a Freedom Fighter Tactical 3/4 inch charging handle. It is made for a Benelli M4 shotgun only. This charging handle next to it is a Benelli 1/2 inch steel charging handle for the Benelli M4 shotgun only. The charging handle next to it, the little narrow one here, that is a Benelli OEM M4 charging handle. It's not made for any other gun but the M4 shotgun. This handle, second to last, is a Freedom Fighter Tactical M1, M2, M3, Super Black Eagle 1, 2, and 3 charging handle. And it is aftermarket, of course. And then the one on the very end is an OEM charging handle. So we're going to look at the differences between these, and I'm going to explain why one's a spinner and none of the other ones are. And we'll just start with the spinner, okay? We're going to put the spinner in each of these guns, and I'm going to show you why it spins. So this one is going to plug right into the M4. There we go. And it snaps into place. You get a loud audible sound. When I shove it all the way in there, it wants to come back out just a little bit where the detents are settling into the round tip. And it is a spinner because I can take my finger and all day long I can rotate counterclockwise, which I'm doing right now, and I can rotate clockwise. That is a spinning charging handle. In some guns, this may seem a little tighter than this particular fit, and in other guns, it might seem a little looser. And what I mean by that is less resistance to turn it than in my gun. These guns, contrary to popular opinion, people think that all Benellis come off the assembly line. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people think all Benellis come off the assembly line totally perfect and free from flaw and identical in every way. And neither are true in the slightest. And you can go to the forums and see that. There's lots of discussions going back many, many years where people have discussed the differences and subtleties of the guns. They are not the same. In fact, you have whatever shotgun you have, yours is unique to the rest of the world. You would be hard pressed to find one that in every way was identical to another one that came off the assembly line. There's going to be variations. There's going to be differences. Because let's face it, folks, things are made over the years. I mean, shotgun's been around for 20, 30 years, since the back in the dark days of the H&Ks and or HK, but it's been around for a long time. And there's been thousands of rounds of receivers being made, and rounds of top rails being made, and rounds of forends being made, and nothing's going to be identical. It's like buying paint. You buy paint, you go to Home Depot and you buy 5 gallons. You buy 5 individual 1-gallon containers of paint. They mix it up right there on the spot, put them in the cans. The good chance that all those are going to be the same. But then let's say you paint your kitchen and you end up being 3 cans short. You go back over there and you have them mix 3 more cans. You bring it back and you paint the wall, and it's slightly different color. That's why you always buy more paint than you need, is because when they mix it, that's the color you're going to get. You go back an hour later, have them mix another batch, even though it's the same formula, it could come out slightly off. It could be a little lighter, a little darker, a little flatter, whatever. Same thing with guns, same thing with parts. When you do, let's say you make 5,000 receivers in one run, and a year later you do another 5,000, there could be some differences there, even if they're ever so slight. So just know that there's a lot of variations in these guns. So anyway, that's the spinner. It spins. Let's get back to the on topic here. I have a tendency sometimes to go on and on. So that's a spinner. That rotates freely. I can pull it right out of the bolt, and I can go and put it in an M2 shotgun. Spinners are wrong spot. I can't see it very well from the angle that I'm at. So spinners, here's the reason why spinners exist. There's companies out there that make the charging handle. They want it to work in the M1, M2, M3, M4, Super Black Eagle 1, 2, and 3. And if there's ever a 4 and it uses the same handle, the Super Black Eagle 4, they don't want to make 5 different, or in this case, probably 2 different charging handles, one for the M4 and one for everything else. They'd rather just have one knob that works on everything. And I get that. However, it's not supposed to spin in either gun at the rate that it spins. Watch this. I go here and I can spin that freely. Counterclockwise, it's just running with my finger. I'm barely having to do anything. Just run my finger on it. Running it backwards, it's spinning freely. And this one, pull it straight out and it comes right out. Okay, so that's a spinner, and it locks into place in both the M4 and the M1, M2, M3, Super Black Eagle 1, 2, and 3. I have heard stories where the spinners don't work well in the M4, but there's times when locking don't work well in the M4, and this goes to the variation. Sometimes the detents aren't engaged the way they need to be. There's a lot going on inside this bolt, and your result could be varied, okay, depending. This charging handle seems to work very well, the spinner, on both of my shotguns. So if I didn't care about the spinning, it would be a nice choice for my shotguns. So when I take the Freedom Fighter Tactical and plug it into the M4, you remember when I had the spinner in there, I could freely rotate back and forth. Watch what the Freedom Fighter Tacticals does. It's not moving. Let's see if I can do an above shot. It's not moving. I mean, there's a little bit of play in it. Sorry, I'm trying to keep that on. There's a little bit of play, but it's not wanting to go anywhere, okay? That's a locking charging handle. So I had somebody that sent me a video this week that showed theirs actually got a little more play than that. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it was about that. And they said, hey, this is spinning. You know, U-billet is locking. What's going on? And so I explained it to them, and they understood, which is cool. But I thought that would be a great way. I mean, this is a video that needs to be done because I have been asked this in the past and didn't do a video on it. Now, the thing is, will my charging handle rotate 360 like the spinner does, but only with more force? So a little bit of force, no, it won't roll with my finger the way the spinner does. But with more force, yes, it will turn inside the bolt, backwards and forwards, clockwise and counterclockwise, okay? So will, let's move over to the OEM. People think the OEM doesn't move at all. Wrong. It will rotate. You hear it? That's clockwise, counterclockwise. It just won't do so as freely, and it's harder to do it because look at this. Look at the design there. The big giant handle with the knurling is going to be much easier to spin than the small handle with no knurling. The small handle is harder to grasp. It's harder. There's a lot of things that's harder about the smaller handle, the OEM handle, that my handle solves. But on the other hand, this one does not rotate anywhere near as freely as this one because this one's bigger. You can get a better grip on it and turn it within the bolt. Same thing with the steel. Put the steel in there. You hear that pop? That's the sound of it locking into place. That's a huge sound, okay? That will turn inside the bolt backwards and forwards, right and left. But will it turn with my finger? No. If I'm pulling on it, no, it's not going anywhere, okay? So that's a locking as opposed to a spinner on a Benelli M4. Let's move on to the M1 shotgun, M2 shotgun. And actually I have an M2 here, right? Okay, so we already have done this. I put the spinner in there and it spins freely, okay? I take the OEM. We're gonna do the OEM first. I take that and put it in there, and I might have to tap it. There, it went into place. That, of course, is not gonna spin, okay? There's a little pad there. It's a different design, and there's a feature on this that I'm gonna show you in just a minute as to why that won't spin. And let me pull this one out. I can't just get it out with my hand. I've tried it 100 times. I always need to get the pliers and the rag so I don't mess up the charging handle. So here is a Freedom Fighter Tactical locking charging handle, okay? For the M1, M2, M3, Super Black Eagle. Sometimes I have to tap this one into place. There we go. It doesn't, oh, there it goes. There we go. I think it's in there now. Yep, it's in there now. So, spinning? No, not spinning whatsoever. Why is it not spinning? Why does this handle, these two handles, not spin at all, and the spinner spin? Well, I'm going to show you a close-up picture that I took with a nice camera, but basically it boils down to this little oval nub right here and a feature inside the Benelli M2 that exists in the M1 and the Super Black Eagle and the M3 as well. It's an oval-shaped cut notch or hole in the bolt that does not exist on the Benelli M4. If you look at the Benelli M4, it's just a hole in the side of the bolt. The hole in the side of the bolt of the M1, M2, M3, and Super Black Eagle has that oval feature. So in order to properly use this handle, you have to have that oval feature lined up with the oval feature inside there in order for it to fit and go into the right spot. And that oval feature keeps it from turning whatsoever. That is rock solid. That's not going anywhere. And actually, it doesn't even want to come out. The spinner, of course, locks into place nicely. Nothing wrong with that. It just spins. And mine's pretty tight. I've heard of people, and I've actually seen them, where they are very loose spinning, backwards and forwards. They're not loose in the bolt as far as it's going to fall out of the bolt, but it's loose in the fact that it spins much more freely than it's happening right here. But I can spin it backwards and forwards with one finger. You can see that, okay? That's not going to happen with that oval mechanism, that locking mechanism, on either the OEM or the Freedom Fighter Tactical. And then, of course, in the M4, you saw what happened there as well. It doesn't rotate with my finger. Why is it important that it doesn't spin? Well, two things. In order to remove, particularly out of the M4, in order to remove a charging handle from the M4, you have to twist it and pull away from the gun. So if I twist and pull, it pops right out, right? Okay, steel charging handle. I pop it into place. Boy, it doesn't want to go in there. Not the right tool for the job. God, pop into place, buddy. Oh, maybe it is in there. No, it's not wanting to go in. It went in just a minute ago. Very odd. Oh, there it goes. Okay, maybe I didn't have it lined up just right. So, you know, pull and twist, it comes right out. Take the original. There it goes. And the original makes the least amount of noise. Pull and twist, comes right out, okay? So here's the thing, and even the spinner will come straight out. So the spinner will just come straight out. Here's the thing, when you pull and twist, a lot of people, when they use a shotgun, and I'm gonna turn the shotgun here under the camera a certain way. When you pull and twist, this is kind of an aside, but this goes to user error on an oversized charging handle. So one thing you want to be mindful about when you use an oversized charging handle is the operation. This does not apply to the M2, M1, M2, M3, Super Black Eagle 1, 2, and 3. This is a unique feature of the Benelli M4, and I think it's a design flaw of the Benelli M4 because I think the Benelli M4 should have that oval locking feature in the bolt the way the M1, M2, M3, and Super Black Eagle do. And I don't know why they eliminated that for the M4. But the M4, to remove the handle, is you simply pull and twist. Well, a lot of people, during operation of their firearm, let me find that bolt hole again. Okay, so a lot of people during operation of their firearm start with the charging handle deep in their knuckle, and they rotate. And by the time they've pulled the handle all the way back, it's at the tip of their finger, and it's like a slingshot. So they start with it here, and then they're wow, and they pull on it hard, and they fling it. Well, when you, I got excited as I did that, didn't I? When you pull on it like that, and it starts deep in your knuckle, and by the time you've pulled it all the way back, it's in your finger where you're letting go of it. You've just rotated it. It's just totally been rotated. Let me turn this camera a little bit. I didn't realize that light was right on me. You've just rotated the charging handle, okay? And then if you add to it a pull away from the gun, so let's say you're doing the slingshot kind of a thing, and you're pulling at an angle away, like a 45-degree angle away from the gun as you're doing that, well, you're twisting, and the knurling and the rings are capturing your finger, and you're twisting and pulling, and it's going to come right out in your hand. Or it's going to come out and stay in there. Maybe you're going to get lucky and it's going to stay in there, but you've dislodged it. And now it's kind of like that, and it's going to end up, you're running and gunning, and somewhere along the way, it drops on the ground, and you call me up and say, hey, your charging handle came out and I lost it. This is how it happens, folks. I mean, when they lock into place, I mean, listen to this audible sound, okay? That isn't going anywhere. I can pull straight out on it, and it's not going anywhere. It takes a twist and a pull. It cannot come just straight out. And I actually encourage you, when you install it, make sure you get the pop, pull on it straight out, and see if you can get it to come out. If you can't, then if it comes out during operation, then there's user error, most likely user error, because you've rotated it. And it's just an aside. It's one of the flaws, I think, of the Benelli M4. I think that's the reason why they designed the OEM charging handle to be small, is that the ability to turn it and pull away from it while you're working it is less with the smaller charging handle with no knurling and limited ribs and ribs that are kind of ineffective, really. I think it's, and this gun is made for military and law enforcement, and they're in high stress situations. So in high stress situations, you're not going to be thinking as clearly. Your adrenaline's going to be pumping. Everything's going to go nuts, and they want the gun. They don't want you pulling that charging handle out in the middle of a gunfight and all of a sudden you're shit out of luck. They want you to have that charging handle in there. Okay, civilians aren't necessarily thinking of that. They want the oversized handle, which I love. That I use the 3/4. It's my favorite. But I'm mindful of the fact that I have to operate it properly in order for it to stay in the bolt. Same thing with any of these charging handles that Freedom Fighter Tactical makes, and same thing with the spinner. You've got to be mindful that you're not pulling away from it while operation. But then it boils down to, do you want a charging handle that doesn't rotate freely? See how that there's resistance there. I can turn it clockwise and counterclockwise, like I demonstrated a few minutes ago, but there is resistance there. Do you want a spinner, or do you want, or this is a spinner, the other one wasn't. Do you want one that spins freely? Some people might actually find that attractive. I don't know. Maybe that will help them counter the slingshot, the fact that it spins freely instead of where mine, when you spin it, you're going to pull the detents out. I don't know. I haven't actually tested this one to see if it somehow has an advantage or not. But I think either charging handle is going to work nicely for you. I just know that a lot of people don't like spinners. A lot of people come to me saying they're getting rid of a spinner. And this week I had like I said, I had a customer, and I've actually had several lately where customers have asked me, boy, that one's tough to get out of there. I doubt that's going anywhere. I've had several customers ask me over the years. Oh, I had one customer ask me this week. I've been asked over the years, why does it move at all? Well, the features don't exist like on the M1, M2, M3 Super Black Eagle to keep it from moving at all. This will move some. And quite honestly, if the M1, M2, M3 Super Black Eagle, if they didn't have that little nub, then it would rotate freely as well. It would rotate all around. That's the whole point of that little locking mechanism, is to make sure that it doesn't turn. It's a mechanism that I'm very fond of. In fact, I was thinking if I could use, I don't think I can use a bolt from an M1, M2, M3, or a Super Black Eagle in an M4. I might look and see if that's possible. A lot of the parts are interchangeable on these guns, but I like the locking mechanism on the M1 style charging handle much better than the locking mechanism on the M4, that detent feature. So that's it, folks. If this is the kind of content you like, again, be sure to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. Lots more videos in queue. And, take this as a lesson in a sense. I just got a big question. The guy took a video of the charging handle, and we had a discussion about the charging handle. And because of his prompting me, I did the video about the charging handle. So when you have questions for me, when you have things that you would like to see, let me know, and I will put them in queue for videos in the future so that we can have some great content and you guys can learn about these shotguns. And, quite honestly, every time I get these guns out, I learn something new about them as well. Even though I've been doing this business for 13 years, I don't know everything, not even close. And I'm always learning about these guns, features of these guns, better ways to take them apart. It's a work in progress. So anyway, that's it, folks. Have a great day. Thanks for watching the video. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Be safe.